The origin in Vectorworks is the 0 point for all measured or calculated values. This is the point where all coordinates x, y, and z have a value of 0. There are three types of origins in Vectorworks. First is the default program origin. This is called the Vectorworks internal origin. In a new file, this is the center of the default page area. This location is fixed and cannot be changed. The second origin is the user-defined origin. The user can set the origin for the x and y axes. By default, in a new blank document, the user-defined origin is the same as the Vectorworks internal origin. This origin is used to display coordinates in various locations, including the rulers and in the Object Info palette. By going to the Tools menu and choosing Set Origin, the user can select a different point for the user-defined origin. You can set the user-defined origin in three ways. Set origin to next mouse click. This will set the next point clicked to 0 for all axes. If you watch, you will see the rulers shift with the user-defined origin change. The rulers will always display coordinates based off of the user-defined origin. Next, you can set the origin back to the Vectorworks internal origin by choosing Set Origin to Drawing Center. This is used when the user-defined origin has been changed, but now you want to reset it back to the Vectorworks internal origin. The final option is to set an x and y value for the next mouse click. This will allow you to set a specified location for the point of the next mouse click. The last origin type in Vectorworks is the temporary origin, or datum. Depending on your Smart Cursor settings, you can create a datum by pressing the G key on your keyboard, or by hovering over a snap point. The datum is a temporary 0 point. This temporary origin point can be used to track and align elements without changing the user-defined origin. This point will disappear after the completion of the drawing action. The key to properly working with origin settings in Vectorworks is to try to stay as close as possible to the Vectorworks internal origin. Issues can occur when working more than approximately 15,000 feet or 4,500 meters from the internal origin in any direction. The distance can vary depending on your unit settings. All CAD applications are vulnerable to these issues. When working far from the internal origin, calculations use approximations, which can lead to small errors and inaccuracies. If you need to work with large coordinate values, such as a national or world scale, you want to make sure your objects are close to the Vectorworks internal origin, and that you change the user-defined origin to maintain the needed coordinate values. The user-defined origin can be thousands of kilometers offset from the internal origin. In most cases, when importing DXF or DWG files, you need to be aware of origin settings. The recommended procedure for importing DXF and DWG files into Vectorworks is to import into a new Vectorworks document. This ensures that the internal origin and user-defined origin are the same. In the DXF/DWG import options dialog, there are origin options. You have three options. Selecting Center after import will center the imported objects around the Vectorworks internal origin and set the user-defined origin to match the coordinates of the imported document. In this example, we are going to import a DWG file that contains a circle. The center of this circle is at x equals 2 meters, y equals -2 meters. With the Center after import option checked, this object will be centered over the Vectorworks internal origin, and the user-defined origin will be changed to maintain the coordinates of the imported file. This option is the best choice. It allows you to maintain the coordinate system of the imported document, but keeps the objects close to the internal origin. The second option is to use world origin instead of user origin. When this option is checked, the user-defined origin is ignored and imports objects based off of the Vectorworks internal origin. For example, in this file, the user-defined origin has been set to the location of this 2D locus point. The axis marks the location of the Vectorworks internal origin. The file we are importing contains a circle centered at 0. When we import the DWG with the Use World Origin instead of User Origin checked, the object is centered on the internal origin and not the user-defined origin. This method is not recommended when importing files that use large coordinate systems. The third option is to leave both options unchecked. This imports the file using the current user-defined origin settings. This would be used to maintain the current user-defined origin and import objects based off of the current user-defined origin. Here is the same example as before. The only change is that neither center after import or use world origin instead of user origin are checked. When we import the same DWG with the circle centered at 0 in the DWG, the imported object is now centered over the user-defined origin. When importing a second DXF or DWG into a document that was already centered after import, you will want to uncheck these options to maintain the alignment of the imported objects. If you are using referencing in Vectorworks, it is very important that the origin settings match in all files. The easiest method is to create a reference point in all documents. You can use this point to set the origin in all files. When setting up your files, create a marker to indicate the Vectorworks internal origin. Here, I have used an intersecting vertical and horizontal line. This will also allow you to verify that the objects are aligned correctly. Also remember that the objects in all files should be as close as possible to the Vectorworks internal origin. If the user-defined origin has not been changed in either the referenced file or the target file, you should not have to adjust any origin settings. However, if the user-defined origin has been changed in any of the files, you will need to make sure the user-defined origin is the same in all documents. Open the file with the user-defined origin and record the coordinates of the page boundary center. Now, open the other file. In the Tools menu, select Set Origin, choose Next Mouse Click Is, and set the X and Y coordinates based off of the recorded coordinates from the other file. Now click OK, and then click the Page Boundary Center to set the user-defined origin. The user origin in both files now match. Note that the page boundary is centered around the Vectorworks internal origin by default. If you have moved the page boundary, you cannot use the center as a reference point. If you are unsure if the user-defined origin has been changed, you will need to create a reference point in the file. A 2D locus point works well for this task. Record the location of the point. Then go to the Tools menu, choose Set Origin, and select the Set Origin to Drawing Center option. This will revert the user-defined origin to the Vectorworks internal origin. At this time, make sure your objects are near the document center. You may need to move the objects. If this is the case, temporarily placing all of the objects into a single group and then setting the X and Y of the center point of the group to 0 is a quick way to move all of the objects close to the document center. Finally, use the Set Origin command again, choose the Next Mouse Click Is option, and enter the X and Y coordinates of the 2D locus point. Now just click on the locus point. The objects are now centered near the Vectorworks internal origin, but maintain the original coordinate system. Using these recommended origin settings in Vectorworks will help you easily prevent issues related to working far from the internal origin, importing files, and referencing documents. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to visit kbase.vectorworks.net for more video tech tips and other technical info. Thank you, and have a great day.